if we have a good conceptualization of what the mind is and are able to step back a little from what is happening in our mind, then we can control our minds, control the flow of our minds, and do amazing things. Hello and welcome back to the Yoga Bus. It's been a while since I updated you. There's not a lot been physically happening, to be honest, to show you. There's been a lot of planning going on in here, and now that planning is finally starting to become a reality. We've finally started to build my kitchen. This is just the base, and there is a dropout for my gas tank, and that's all we've got done today. It was quite tough drilling through the floor of the van for the dropout. It took us a while to work out where we could go because it's near the wheel arch and the suspension and everything, so that took a while to work out, but we got there. And then we were going up through a bit where it was welded, so that was really tough to get the hole cutter through there. This, where's it gone? Look at this beast. So really what I wanted to talk about today is something that has been going through my mind all week, and it just seems to tie in with the fact that I've just spent weeks planning what I'm going to be building. And it got me thinking about how amazing our minds are. So quite often in my yoga classes, I'm talking about quietening our minds and being able to drop back into awareness and be the observer, the witness, rather than the thoughts, the emotions that we're having. But maybe that can sometimes sound as if the mind is a bad thing. We want to quieten the mind, but it doesn't mean that the mind is a bad thing. I think what tends to be the case is that we allow our minds to take over and we don't have control of our minds, and then that can cause great anxiety within us. But it's amazing what we can do with our minds. So I'm really proud of these drawings. I've never drawn anything like this before. So this is how my kitchen is going together. There's taken lots of measuring, visualizing, imagining, planning. It's amazing that we can do that. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of actually celebrate the mind rather than, just all the time be, we want to quieten the mind, we want to drop back into awareness. Because our minds are amazing and they are what make us human. No other animal can plan in the way that we do. And then it got me to thinking about telling you about how yoga views the mind. Because if we kind of have a good conceptualization of what the mind is and are able to step back a little from what is happening in our mind, then we can control our minds, control the flow of our minds, and do amazing things. But I think in our modern world of noise and stimulation, constant things happening, is that we don't have control of our minds, and they're so busy. And, you know, I know exactly how that can be. I have a diagnosis of ADHD. When your mind is just going, random things coming in from here, random things coming in from here, and you're completely out of control of it. But if we understand or have a conceptualization of how the mind is, because it is just a conceptualization, we can divide reality in many different ways, not how we want, but in many different ways. The way that yoga conceptualizes the mind is a little bit different to how we conceptualize it in modern science. And both are valid ways of thinking about the mind. So in modern science, we have very much that we have the body and the mind. We've kind of lost the spirit, the kind of awareness, essence, kind of along with chucking out religion, I think, a little bit. But we have the body, the mind, and we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. That's how we are used to thinking of it. Now, before I go any further, I have to say that yoga conceptualizes the world in a completely different way to how we do in modern science. In fact, the reverse. So in modern science, we think of consciousness as something that arises out of matter. We don't know how, but it emanates or arises out of our brains. But in yoga, it's the other way around. So yoga says that consciousness is primary, and matter, which is prakriti in yoga, matter then arises out of consciousness. You have two things in the world: consciousness, which is called purusha, and then matter, the world, things, which is called prakriti. It doesn't matter which one you believe, whether you believe consciousness is primary or consciousness arises out of matter, because I think we all can have that experience of being aware of our thoughts, being aware of our emotions, feeling like we're watching them, being the observer. So whether that is primary or whether that emanates from our brain, it doesn't matter. We can have that experience. So being able to drop into that awareness is key. And we can initiate that awareness by just focusing on our breath, focusing on something, our body in contact with the ground, a sound we can hear, to focus our mind on one point and stop the busyness of the mind initially, and then we are able to let go and drop back into that awareness. You can't like grasp that awareness or like try too hard to be there. You have to let go into it. So when you're able to drop back into that awareness, then we can think about observing the mind. And if we can observe the mind, we can control the mind. Now, I'm just going to briefly tell you how yoga conceptualizes the mind. That yoga conceptualizes the mind as having four minds, basically, or mind with four parts. So the first is our sensing mind. Manas, this is called manas. Our sensing mind, our reactive mind. So it's like the bridge to the outside world. It takes in all the information from your senses, your sight, your hearing, your touch, your taste. And also, if you need to react quickly without thinking, like a car is stopping suddenly in front of you and you need to brake quickly, you do that without thinking, oh, I should be braking now. Like, it's a really reactive mind. So that's our manas. The second mind is Ahaṁkāra. Ahaṁkāra is our I sense, our sense of ourselves. We all have a really strong sense of ourselves. And these are the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And they're really, really important stories. We have to have these stories. Like, to say that we just make up this story about ourselves makes it sound unimportant. That's not the point. It is really important. Sometimes those stories cannot be very helpful, and we may want to change those stories, notice what those stories are, and then initiate action that helps us to change those stories. But it's really important to have a strong story of yourself. Psychologically, for mental well-being, it's really important that you have a strong story about yourself. But it's also important that it's congruent with reality. So that is the second part of our mind, Ahaṁkāra. So we have our sensing mind, our I sense. The third mind is Buddhi. Buddhi means discernment or wisdom. And it is our mind that can make wise decisions for ourselves. We can channel our mind in the direction we want to go. We can recognize that stories that we're telling ourselves are not very helpful, and that maybe we could try to bring about change there. So Buddhi is very important, and it's something that we can develop. And if all things are going correctly, then you should develop more Buddhi as you get older. The fourth mind is Citta. Now, Citta is the whole mind field. So it contains the other three minds. It contains our sensing mind, our reactive mind, our I sense, our discernment, our wisdom. But it also contains latent impressions from our whole life. So in yoga, we call these samskaras. Samskaras are latent impressions left by actions. Now, actions can be things that we physically do or thoughts that we have. They all leave impressions, latent impressions in our mind, and they can arise at any time. And the deeper that samskara, the more we have entrenched that pattern, the more it affects our mind and our behavior. Chitta also contains our emotions, our beliefs, our memories, and all of these things can arise to affect our sensing mind, our sense of I, the stories that we tell ourselves, and also to affect our discernment, our buddhi, our wisdom. So it's an interesting way of conceptualizing the mind, that you are none of those parts of the mind. On a lot of levels you are, like in your interactions with the world, but you are the awareness that is watching those things in the chitta, the arena of your mind. You are like the blue sky, and everything that's happening in your mind are like the clouds passing through. If you can drop back into that awareness and observe what happens in your mind, then you can start to have some more control, but not control in like an overbearing kind of way, but more like that you are dancing with, you are flowing with, you are directing the flow of your mind in a really good direction so that you can plan and do amazing things. And we need to celebrate the mind, but we need to be the master of the mind and not allow our mind to be our master. And that is the practice of yoga. That is the practice of yoga. Like, you see all these poses and everything, you think that is yoga, but those poses are just a way in modern yoga, because they're not really part of ancient yoga, but a way in modern yoga of making sure that the body is fit and healthy so that it does not disturb the mind. And also that you can really feel that union of body and mind, which we seem to have lost in the modern West. But anyway, I've gone completely off camper van building. But this is the yoga bus after all, so you should expect a lesson on yoga. Anyway, things are finally happening again. The planning stage has been so important, and I'm going to have to be adaptable as we go through, because things change. But having spent this long planning, I feel like I know how it's going together. It feels good. I've never done anything like this before, and this is again like a new experience. Right. Thank you very much for listening to me rambling on. If you have resonated with what I'm saying, then please hit the like button. And if you haven't done so already, then please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps. I'm really trying to grow the channel. So yeah, that would be amazing. Thank you. Okay, folks. Take care. Oh, drop a comment as well. Sorry, I am going to go in a minute. Drop a comment as well. I love it when you drop a comment, and I love to hear from you. So yeah, please do. Take care, people.